Hello everyone, welcome back to Blade Bias. Before this video begins, I want to throw a massive shout out to my apartment's mailroom. I ordered this a year ago. It was delivered in March of last year. They just gave it to me today. It's January of the year later. I thought they lost that. I thought it was a small pin set. This was from when Metroid Prime Remastered released. I had like Nintendo points, so I bought this, and you had to pay shipping or something. It wasn't that bad. I thought they were small pins, so they were in a small envelope, so they lost it. This thing was in an envelope like this big. I don't know. That's why I don't trust the mailroom. Speaking of the mailroom, I went to pick up something pretty cool today. This is the real package from Ted Flips that I expected to get when I checked out the Marin with the Seraph blade. Here's the real one. I have two things in here, and I'm not exactly sure if I want to spoil what are in them, but two knives that I have been very interested to try, one of which has been highly requested, the other of which is just a huge personal passion of mine because I really want to try it. So, I got to decide which one. I think I'm just going to do random. I don't really remember. There's one on the top and one on the bottom. I think I'm just going to grab the one on the bottom. I don't really remember what it is. So today, we're checking out the Fellowship Blades Gaboon, and oh my lord, is it small. Holy cow. I would have gotten out the hognose if I was planning for this, but yep, that's a live bladed hognose, which I gotta be honest, not the biggest fan of. One of my biggest complaints with the hognose is just how insubstantial it feels. It's very small, it's very thin, feels lanky. It's not really like a very Grant standard knife, considering, he's made things like the Impuso, which is this big, bulky thing, but it still manages to flip like it's, nice and light and agile. Still love the Impuso, still love how it looks. The hognose wasn't a big of a fan on, which kind of made the Gaboon by proxy something that I wasn't terribly interested in. It looks cool, though. This anno is very interesting. I believe Ted told me that there is one weight here, and I can see it. So there's two weights, one in each part of the sandwich here. This, if you don't know, is a new live blade. Oh, it is completely dull. Wait, that's sick. Oh my gosh. That's like a... It doesn't feel good to chaplain on, but that's like a rounded edge. That's crazy. I didn't know that's what... I knew unsharpened was unsharpened, but I kind of thought it was like Nibali's false live blade kind of unsharpened, not like actual rounded to a trainer point. Rounded to a trainer point? What does that mean? Anyway, this is a titanium sandwich live blade from Fellowship Blades. I love the blade design. It incorporates all of these little machining lines, which I'm such a huge fan of machining lines on blades. I know you wouldn't know it, considering my favorite live blade has no machining lines whatsoever, but that just, complements the minimalist aesthetic of the Slift T, in my opinion. This looks incredible. I love the blade shape. I love the blade profile. I just wish it was a little bigger. Same with these handles. If I get something more standard like a Kraken, I think the Kraken kind of dwarfs this thing. Not as much as I thought, but you can see it's noticeably thinner. It's smaller. Like, look at how much thinner it is. It's a tiny bit shorter. But, I guess I can just kind of flip it since I don't really have to worry about this live edge. Titanium feels good. I love the anno on this thing. This is like a spectral anno. You can see like the different ways it reflects light, and there's like the little bubbles there. Completely sandwich, and this thing is so interesting because there's 4 different points to put in weights. Technically 8 in each handle, 1 for each sandwich, to allow you to customize the weight distribution. Now, I don't believe Ted sent me any weights with it. Oh. Never mind. I was going to say, maybe there's a bag in there. I don't think. I'll have to check with him. But this kind of allows like a zippy level of customization to your handle bias that we haven't really seen in a metal knife before. You obviously have, changeable weights in metal balisongs. Like the Koenig is a great example, but nothing where you can do, nothing to my knowledge, I could be completely wrong about this, where you can go up the channel like that. But without further ado, this is one weight, two weights technically right here. Let's give it a flip. It's good. It does flip good. It's very hog-nosy. The Gaboon is very, very hog-nosy. And granted, again, this is... Ooh, it sounds very good. This is with one weight kind of up. If I... kind of up here. If I could put the weight down here, maybe it would be a little more to my preferences. It flips good. It's just not to my preferences. And the size is really what's doing it for me. I don't know. Like, this is a good knife. Don't get me wrong. It's built really well. And it feels quality. The small... It is insane how much the decreased thickness contributes to this thing feeling tiny. And I mean, granted, if you compare the handles, that is a pretty sizable difference in handle length right there. But it's insane how much that tiny bit just contributes to this thing feeling minuscule. The blade is about the same size as a normal blade, which is interesting. But it feels so small and insubstantial, which some people might like. I know some people are really a fan of like smaller knives and stuff. I personally prefer a more standard. I'm a machine-wise shill, so like I'm used to long knives, but I prefer more standard knives like the Kraken. So the Gaboon, while good, this is very, very good. It does not flip to my preferences. And that's all I really have to say about that. Let's look at this thing a bit more objectively. What am I struggling with? What am I not struggling with? So this is number 31. Fanning feels okay, if not a little weird. Kind of similar to the hognose, but in a different way. The hognose kind of has the same feeling when it fans, but the hognose also feels lighter, which kind of changes how it feels when it fans. This thing feels like a more normal weighted hognose. I'm actually not sure off the top of my head what the weight of this thing is, but I'll be able to update that when I do the full I spent a week with video. The big thing I'm noticing is choker fans. Choker fans I am genuinely kind of struggling on this thing with. Damn. That was an unlucky fall. Sorry, Ted. I am sort of noticing good tolerances, as is expected from Grant. I'm sort of noticing a crazy amount of struggling when doing choker fans, which, if I remember correctly, was also the same with the hognose. Not as much. Hognose definitely carries itself through a choker fan much better. Which, again, this could be, very well could be just because there's no weights in this thing. There's just that one weight. Maybe this thing flips way better with two weights in the end of the handles, or all of the weights in the handles. I don't know. And I don't know if I'll be able to figure that out. We'll see. But this, it feels good. It feels like a nice knife. I'm going to quickly just confirm what these sell for, because I'll be honest, I don't know too much off of the Gaboon off the top of my head. The Gaboon retails for, I can buy one right now for $4.25. But if I get a raw one, it's $3.90. That's actually a pretty good price. That's like Sliff Tea kind of. Oh, I did the will thing. Oh no. I was literally just watching Will's video on the Squiddy WH the other day and going, oh, it's really funny how I've never done that before. I jinxed myself, chat. Is this still in the same? I'm not as advanced as Will. I need my phone to look at my framing. Okay, I think we're good. This thing, where was I? Oh yeah, it's right around the Sliff Tea price, which is pretty good, especially for the level of customization you can get with this thing. Grant has some really, really cool anos that you can get. This being, one of them. I will say I am getting more used to it. Still really weird on the choker fan, but I'm getting more used to it as I flip it. It does flip good, and I can imagine actually if you're an EDC person, this would be an amazing EDC for someone who doesn't have a lot of room in their pockets. Like, because it's small and it's thin. It's not going to take up much room in your pockets, which means, it's going to be pretty good for EDC, I would imagine. That was one thing that my Impusa always had on my other knives, is it was thin. So it just disappeared into a pocket. Because that's the thing, with phones these days being so large, the thing that matters is that they're thin. You can fit a giant phone into your pocket. As long as it's thin, it disappears. But if it's thick, like, I don't know, the Galaxy Folds line from Samsung, those things do not disappear in a pocket. And that's kind of how it is for some Balisongs. You have some really bulky Balisongs. Like, I would never want to put the Edit in my pocket. This thing takes up no room in my pocket. So I can imagine this would be a really sick EDC, assuming you get one that's actually sharp. I am getting more used to it. I do like it. So it chaplains well. It chaplains pretty good. Z-chokers feel good. Rollovers feel good. Really, the main area I'm struggling in is the choker fans. It just doesn't feel like it wants to do them. I don't really know exactly how to describe it. The momentum gets messed up around the time that I reverse the fan into the choker fan that I normally do, and it just doesn't feel the greatest, but it doesn't feel bad either. I think it's a super solid knife for the price. I'm going to be honest. I actually really like this thing from a design and EDC standpoint. It doesn't flip exactly to my preferences. That could change with the weight, so I'm not going to judge it fully on that. But this is it's a really solid knife for $390. Or $425, which for a full ano, an extra $35. And I think that price would actually go down if you wanted to get it unsharpened. That's pretty good. I know a lot of people who have Gaboons who enjoy them. I know there's a small group of people out there who think that the Magna Cut steel isn't going to hold up long term. I don't know, man. I'm not a knife maker. I'm not a knife forger. I don't really know too much about steels and their properties and all of that. So I can't exactly comment on that, nor can I durability test this long term, because it's not mine. It's Ted's, and it has to go back to him in about a week. But I like it. I like it way more than the Hognose. I will say that. This I would pick over the Hognose any day. Even though the Hognose feels bigger, which is actually crazy to say that. The Hognose is thicker and it feels bigger. The Hognose already felt small to me. The flipping on the Hognose just doesn't do it for me. Maybe with the new pivot change that he made, where he put pivots in the end of the handles, the Hognose would be a little bit better. But I'm definitely liking the Gaboon, or as I like to call it, the Gaboon, way, way more than I enjoy the Hognose. Not to say the Hognose is bad by any means. I made a whole video talking about how I was maybe a bit too harsh on it. But this thing, especially now that I'm getting used to it, I like it actually quite a bit. So yeah, I'll put this solidly in, like, not my favorite flipper in the world, but still a pretty awesome knife that I think people would be excited to own. And the jimping feels good. I mean, actually, the jimping feels rather unsubstantial, but this is titanium, so it shouldn't really matter. I need to learn how to do better ladders than just the ones that I'm capable of doing. I'm trying, man. Anyway, I probably rambled on for long enough. Thank you all for watching. I will be back in about a week with I spent a week with the Gaboon video. And I'll be back in a few days with the next item in this package, which I am honestly really excited to check out. So stay tuned for that. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Gaboon out. What does that mean?